Hello, everybody. On behalf of York Hospital and our Center for Older Adults, I'd like to welcome you to today's Zoom webinar, How to Move to Prevent Cognitive and Physical Decline. Our presenters today will discuss and demonstrate ways to keep our bodies and brains strong as we age. Our presenters this afternoon are Marissa Santos, physical therapist at York Hospital, and Janine Robichaux, wellness coach at Soulful Pathways here in Maine. Marissa will start us off by addressing the importance of activity for both physical and mental well-being, common stereotypes associated with aging and mobility, how to stay active both inside the home and outdoors, ways to achieve personal exercise and activity goals, and when to seek assessment for pain or difficulty experienced with physical activity. Following Marissa, Janine will demonstrate a live Tai Chi Qigong sequence to get our blood flowing. You may want to have a chair handy for the physical demonstration, and not all exercises are suitable for everyone, and this or any other exercise program may result in injury. York Hospital and Soulful Pathways are not responsible or liable for any injury or loss you may sustain by participating in this exercise demonstration. Please stop exercising immediately if you experience pain, soreness, fatigue, shortness of breath, dizziness, lightheadedness, blurred vision, headache, nausea, sickness, illness, dehydration, excessive sweating, or any other discomfort. On a more positive note, all webinar participants will be eligible to receive an inspirational gift to promote good health and movement after the event concludes. To receive your gift, please be sure to send your shipping address, which is your home mailing address, to us at info@yorkhospital.com. So now, before we go ahead and get started, we have a few quick housekeeping notes to review. Marissa will speak first for about 30 to 35 minutes, followed by a brief question and answer sessions. Then Janine will demonstrate her activities and will do additional questions at the end of the webinar. Unlike traditional Zoom, where you're able to see everybody's faces throughout the meeting, during this webinar, you will only see our presenters' faces along with their slides. As participants, your audio has been muted, so if you do have a question, you can type it into the Q&A button located at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Please do not use the chat or raise hand icons, as those will not be monitored during the presentation. And you are welcome to type your questions in at any time during the presentation. You don't have to wait until the end. If you do have a question that is asked but not answered during our time together today, please feel free to email us again at that info@yorkhospital.com email address, and we'll be happy to send a reply the following day. And this webinar is being recorded and will be available to you and everyone in the community next week on the York Hospital YouTube channel. Lastly, we are grateful to the Maine Health Access Foundation for supporting this educational webinar to help us reframe aging and improve care for older adults. So once again, we'd like to thank you very much for tuning in today and spending this time with York Hospital. We hope you find the information helpful, and we're pleased to go ahead and get started as we turn the program over to you, Marissa.
Thanks, Hillary. Let me just pull up my slides for everyone. First here, share. Okay, we should be good to go. So welcome everyone. I'm happy that you've all decided to take the time to join us virtually for the Center for Older Adults third part of our webinar series, discussing how to move to help prevent cognitive and functional decline. As Hillary mentioned, my name is Marissa. I'm a physical therapist and I've worked for York Hospital for almost 5 years now. I've worked at the Center for Older Adults since it opened, and I've also spent time working in the inpatient setting here as well as outpatient. Prior to my employment at York Hospital, I worked as a traveling PT in several facilities across the country. I've worked in the skilled nursing setting as well as long-term acute care. However, regardless of the setting, the majority of my career has been spent working with the geriatric population, which I absolutely love. And today, I am happy to be able to spend some time with you all to share some of my knowledge about the importance of movement and activity for your overall physical and mental health. I hope that everyone learns at least one new thing during my presentation. But mostly, I want you to walk away from this session with an understanding of how important it is to just move more. So let's dive in a little bit. I want to start us off by taking a closer look at our perspective of what constitutes an older adult. Take a look at the statements on the slide. I'm going to visit my 84-year-old grandma this weekend. We had a 93-year-old man admitted to the ER last night. My dad's 70th birthday party is tonight. Now, what image comes to mind when you hear these statements? What does that 84-year-old grandma look like? How is that 93-year-old man moving around? Do you think of someone like these people on the slide? Does it bring an image to mind of a man stooped over a cane, or someone shuffling along with a walker, or maybe even an older couple confined to a wheelchair? It doesn't shock me if this is the image your brain produces when you hear someone talking about an older adult. It's certainly the image that American society has portrayed to us in television shows, newspapers, magazines. This idea of the older adult as being unable to move, thought of as an invalid, or even a burden on society, is just one way that ageism affects our thoughts. This is just a stereotype. Getting older doesn't automatically mean that you are going to lose the ability to walk. Getting older doesn't mean that you're going to need to use a walker. I think our country needs to start thinking about getting older, this aging process, through a different lens. Not thinking about aging as the decline or degradation of your body, but rather as a process of maturation and the evolution of wisdom. Now, let me take some time to introduce you to some older adults that come to my mind when I'm thinking about healthy aging. First off, we have Julia Hurricane Hawkins. Julia is 105 years old, and she's a retired teacher. Julia is also the world record holder in the 100-meter dash for her age group, 105 plus. Julia ran in the 2021 Senior Games track and field competition with a record time of 1:02.95, although she was hoping to break 1 minute. Julia was a lifelong cyclist, but lost interest as she aged because of a lack of competition. So Julia decided to pick up running at 100. On the bottom of this slide, I've included some advice from Julia. She's been quoted as saying, "My message to others is that you have to stay active if you want to be healthy and happy as you age." Now, let's meet Roy Englert, the 99-year-old World War II veteran who started running at the age of 60. He was inspired by the book Aerobics by Dr. Kenneth Cooper. Dr. Cooper stated in his book that one needs to exercise and running is good exercise. Well, Roy took those words straight to heart. Roy started out slow by just running laps in his basement and then moved outside to a local track. He then decided to compete in some masters races where he won some medals and decided to keep competing. As you can see from the quote on the bottom of the slide, Roy doesn't actually enjoy running per se, but he does enjoy the endorphins and feeling of accomplishment you get after you exercise. This is kind of fun, the winning part, not the running. I do not enjoy running when I'm doing it. It is always nice to finish. You feel good after you finish. Julia and Roy are remarkable examples of being an active older adult. Now let me tell you about another remarkable adult, Edwina, AKA the Iron Gran. Edwina is a 6-time Ironman finisher, which is an incredible accomplishment in and of itself. But what makes Edwina even more impressive is that she didn't participate in any sports at all until she was 50 years old. She completed her first marathon at 52, and she learned how to swim at 60. She completed her most recent Ironman at age 72. And for those of you that don't know, an Ironman is a long distance race composed of a 2.4-mile swim, followed by a 164-mile bike ride, and then just a quick little 24-mile marathon to finish. She has also taken her cycling to the extreme and has completed the race across America, which is a 3,000-mile bike race. Her team, the Serpentine Golden Girls, had an average age of 70. Edwina has given advice saying that you enjoy aging. You are encouraging other people that it's never too late to start getting a bit more active and to have fun. I think it's so important to make the experiences fun. Now, moving on, let's meet Marge Carl, who's another interesting and active older woman. Marge is 92 and a member of the San Diego Senior Women's Basketball League, which is an amazing organization. The San Diego Senior Women's Basketball League was founded in the mid-1990s and has been a great place for these women to learn the sport, stay active, and build a support system. They have 13 teams and over 75 women playing. Now Marge, like many of the women in the league, didn't learn how to play basketball until later in life. Marge learned in her 60s. She is also somewhat of a late bloomer in other aspects. She graduated college in her 70s, retired in her late 80s, and went skydiving on her 90th birthday. Marge was quoted saying that, "You've got to get engaged. You can't sit in a room watching TV. That's a death knell," and pointing to her temple, emphasizing, "This doesn't die unless you let it." Now, lastly, here's someone you might have heard of before. Joan Benoit Samuelson, our local marathon running machine. Joan was the first female to win a gold medal at the Olympics in 1984 for the marathon. She also set a world record marathon time at Boston in 1983. She has continued to race as she has aged. Her goal is to break barriers in her age group. At age 50, she ran a 2:49:08 marathon in the 2008 Olympic marathon trials, placing 90th overall. And she is the only woman to have run below a 3-hour marathon in 5 separate decades. She set the marathon record at age 53 in her age group. In 2019, at the age of 61, Joan ran the Boston Marathon exactly 40 years after her record-breaking win in 1979 and finished within 30 minutes of her winning time. Obviously, she won her age group with a time of 3 hours and 4 minutes, which for everyone listening, that is just over a 7-minute per mile pace. Now, Joan is just a bit younger than some of the other adults I've introduced you to. And unlike many of the other adults, she has a long relationship with sports and has competed at a high level for many years. But she has worked hard. To figure out the balance with running and aging. When asked about the challenges of aging and staying active and competitive in a recent interview, her response was, "Some years will be better than others, and others will be more challenging. But unless we embrace where we are at the moment, then I think we're just cheating ourselves." So, what am I trying to do by showing you all of these amazing older athletes besides shame you all into training for a 5K? Well, I'm really trying to emphasize the point that age, as our society perceives it, really is just a number. Chronological age is something we use to measure the passing of time. It shouldn't limit you or stop you from trying something new or making healthier choices. At any point and any time in your life, you can start making lifestyle changes to improve your quality of life. There's so much ageism and stereotypes, especially in American culture, that an old person can't move or do anything, and certainly can't participate in sports. Society tells us that old people need to use a walker or a cane, that they will get out of breath from walking down the hallway, or maybe they can't even stand up from their wheelchair without help. But this stereotype simply isn't true. This stereotype is just a limitation that society has determined. It shouldn't be considered the norm, and it shouldn't be the scale you compare your own life to. Now, I don't expect any of you to suddenly decide that you want to race a marathon, but I do want you all to understand how every day is a new day to start being active. Every day is another chance to move your body. Our chronological age shouldn't hinder us from being active. I would love for all of us to help change this perception in society that is so derogatory towards chronological age, and instead start thinking about our biological age. Now, biological age refers to the underlying aging processes at the biological level. Specifically, it concerns the disease-independent accumulation of pathophysiological changes that contribute towards mortality over time. That's a lot of complex words, basically saying that chronological age is just a measure of time going by, whereas biological age is how fast our cells are deteriorating. Biological age is based on multiple factors, including our genes and our lifestyle choices. So what we decide to eat, do, etc., has a direct impact on how we age. Exercise is something we can decide to participate in or not, and it has direct effect on our biological age. Yeah, you heard me right. We do have some control over our biological age. That's incredible, isn't it? That the choices I make every day when I wake up will have a direct impact on my quality of life. So why not make one of the best decisions you can make that has overwhelmingly positive effects on all areas of your body by being active every day? Just kind of seems like simple logic to me. But let me explain it briefly in an analogy in case you aren't sold yet. Think of it this way. Your body is a car. There are different parts to your car: the engine, the brakes, the windshield wipers, the suspension, etc. Just like your body has different systems, your nervous system, muscular, skeletal, digestive, and so on. If you don't maintain your car, you ignore the oil changes, you never replace the brakes, you don't have the suspension fixed after a fender bender, your car isn't going to last for many years, and it certainly won't be very safe to drive. Your car might only be 6 chronological years old, but it won't run anymore. Whereas if you take your car in for its yearly inspection, routine oil changes, and get it looked at when you notice something abnormal, you could be driving that car around until the engine rusts out. Similarly, if you take care of your body, if you exercise, eat healthy, don't smoke, see your doctors, etc., your body will run smoothly and safely for many years. Okay. Oh, there we go. My apologies, I have to go back one slide. Okay. So now that we have established that anybody can exercise regardless of your age, we might ask, well, why specifically should we exercise? What is exercise going to do for me? Research has shown that exercise is beneficial for all these things that I've listed on the slide. Exercise improves your strength and balance, increases your cardiopulmonary function. It actually decreases pain and inflammation, and increases your immune competence, which reduces your risk of infection. Exercise also helps out your brain. Exercise reduces stress and depression. It improves your episodic and spatial memory, and it improves your attention. There is still so much research to be completed on why these effects happen, but I will try to explain this in the most basic of terms. When you move your body during exercise, you are contracting your muscles. And when you contract your muscles, you are moving blood around. More movement equals more blood pumping to your brain. And this blood is carrying important oxygen and nutrients to your brain. Brain needs this oxygen and nutrients to function properly. I really don't think people understand just how amazing this is. So take another look at the list of benefits from exercise on this slide. Exercise helps your memory, it helps your mental health, it helps your immune response, and obviously it helps your physical strength. One thing, exercise, does all of this. How many pills can help you improve your memory and improve your stress levels and help you get stronger and reduce your inflammation levels? I certainly can't think of any one pill that does all that. Oh, and guess what else? Exercise doesn't have any side effects except for being happy that you did something to help yourself. Pretty awesome, huh? Sounds like exercise is awesome. So how much should I get in order to see these benefits? Well, let me give you a little bit of guidance. The US Health and Human Services has determined guidelines for the amount of physical activity the average American needs to perform to promote a healthy lifestyle. As you may have noticed, I've been discussing all the ways exercise helps the body and brain. But now I'm talking about physical activity guidelines. What's the difference? Physical activity is any bodily movement produced by skeletal muscles that requires energy expenditure. Exercise is defined as being an activity that is planned, structured, repetitive, and purposefully focused on improvement or maintenance of one or more components of physical fitness. Basically, exercise is just a subcategory of physical activity. Now, the US H&HS recommends at the least 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity activity every week, or 75 to 115 minutes of vigorous intensity activity every week. Specifically, older adults should perform as much activity as they can, with strengthening and balance exercises added in. On the slide, I've broken this recommendation down even further. So as you can see, you should get at the minimum 30 minutes of moderate activity 5 times a week, or 15 minutes of vigorous activity 5 times a week. So 15 to 30 minutes of activity 5 times a week, that's not really too much to do. But before we go into more detail about the types of activity that are beneficial, I wanted to take a moment to talk about the moderate intensity versus vigorous intensity rating. One great way of telling how intense an activity is by using the RPE scale, which I've posted to this slide. The RPE scale is one way to help you understand how hard you are working with an activity, and if you can consider that activity as a moderate level or high level. RPE stands for Rating of Perceived Exertion, and the rankings go from a scale of 1 to 10, with an RPE rating of 1 relating to barely doing anything strenuous, like just sitting and talking to someone, all the way to an RPE rating of 10, which represents maximal effort, such as sprinting down a hallway. The line on the right of the slide shows how the higher an RPE rating, the more exhausted or more effort that runner is putting into his movement. Now, this is a subjective ranking system. It is based on your own personal perceived exertion level. Sometimes you might find that going up the stairs in your house causes you no trouble, maybe listing it as an RPE of 2 to 3, like a low to moderate level. But then let's say a few weeks later, you get the flu, you try going up your stairs, and now that activity feels more like an RPE of 7, very difficult and out of breath. So now that we have a better understanding on how to classify an activity as moderate or vigorous, let's take a little closer look at what counts as physical activity. I won't read off this entire list, but some things that count towards your weekly minutes include walking up and down the stairs, cleaning your countertops, carrying and putting away groceries, vacuuming the house, and so on. Many of these tasks we perform on a weekly basis already. We might not consider them formal exercise, but they do count towards reaching our weekly activity goal. I would like to make the disclaimer that these aren't all set in stone in the manner that the moderate intensity is always moderate intensity. Any activity can be moderate or vigorous depending on how much effort you personally put into it. For example, I've listed walking to the mailbox as a moderate intensity activity, with the assumption that most people can walk down to their mailbox and back while maintaining an RPE range of 3 to 4. However, if you are not a very mobile individual or recently sick, or you want to challenge yourself by speed walking to your mailbox, you could turn this activity into a vigorous activity with an RPE of 5 to 6. And on the next slide, I've listed just one example of how a week of physical activity might look like for somebody. As you can see, some of these exercises are purely physical activity, like folding laundry, washing dishes by hand, whereas some of these activities fall into the category of exercise, such as performing an online Tai Chi class and going for a walk along the beach. This week adds up to a total of 185 minutes, kind of a mixture of moderate and vigorous activity, which is just right in the middle of the recommendations. Now, how do I get this done at home? Well, make a routine. Pick a day of the week or a time of day that you want to set aside for some form of physical activity. Humans thrive on routines, so pick a routine that will work with your lifestyle. And you don't need any sort of fancy equipment to be successful. Most of the time, your body weight is enough resistance to make strength gains. But if you want to add a little extra muscle, you can use items you already have around your house. Grab a few cans of soup to hold in your hands while you exercise your arms, or grab a jug of milk to lift up and down. Just make sure you don't keep it out of the fridge for too long. And maybe you're a bit of a couch potato and you just like to watch TV. Take the time during commercials or pause the TV series between episodes on Netflix and spend 5 minutes doing seated exercises, kicking your legs out in front of you, marching your hips, raising your arms above your head, etc. Or maybe you like working out in the comfort of your own home. Well, there are many different options for virtual exercise classes. Specifically, the Southern Maine Agency on Aging and the YMCA have a variety of classes you can either follow along with at the time of your choosing, or you could sign up for a class that meets virtually on a weekly basis. YouTube is also a great resource for online exercise classes. Tai Chi specifically has been shown to improve balance, strength, and concentration in adults. For those of you who like exercising with others, there are a variety of group exercise classes starting up again, which I will reference later on in this presentation. Okay, and I would be remiss if I didn't take a chance to promote my own profession and the resources available to everyone through York Hospital. Sometimes you might not know where to start, or you might be having so much difficulty moving that it's not safe for you to try these things on your own. As you can see from this slide, there are many triggers that would prompt you to see a physical therapist for a formal evaluation and potentially treatment with recommendations tailored to you. PTs are quite literally the movement and mobility specialists. We went to college for many years to learn how to help you move better, move safely, while also helping you to move without pain or limitations. So if any of the qualifiers listed on the slide above seem to apply to you, it may be worth it to ask for a PT referral from your PCP. York Hospital has outpatient physical therapy clinics located in Wells, Kittery, South Berwick, and York. But for those of you who might not need formal PT, I put together a resource list for you all to hopefully help you get the ball rolling for a more active lifestyle. A flyer with all of these phone numbers, addresses, and some example classes will be mailed out to everybody. So I won't read through everything on this slide. But as you can see, there are many different options out there. And just to wrap this all up, I want to go over the major takeaways from my presentation. First off, that age is just a number. Age shouldn't stop you from exercising. And exercise is good for your entire body, including your brain. You should get at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity every week. And this activity includes everything from cleaning the kitchen to going for a walk. No special equipment is needed. And lastly, if you are having mobility issues like falls, near falls, pain, or difficulty completing physical tasks, meet with a PT to get a formal assessment. I'll stop here for now and give everyone a moment to ask questions. There will be a chance for more questions at the very end of the presentation, but we'll pause here as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Marissa. I do not see anybody that has submitted a question in the chat box. I'm sorry, in the Q&A box. If you do have questions, please feel free to type them there. We did receive a couple of questions prior to the webinar, so I could ask a couple of those now if you'd like to take them, Marissa.
Sure, that sounds good.
The first one is, are there specific types of exercise that have more benefit than others?
Mm-hmm. So I briefly touched on this in the presentation. There have been studies on like the benefits of Tai Chi and line dancing, or specific types of dancing as far as getting more brain and body involvement. But the overall consensus at this point in time in the research is that any exercise is good exercise, and the difference between, doing strengthening seated exercises for 30 minutes versus walking for 30 minutes doesn't seem to make a difference. So just basically any exercise is good.
Okay, that's there were two other questions that we received. One of them is similar to that. If I'm trying to lose weight, will the moderate activities like cleaning counters and walking to the mailbox help me? I guess doing something is better than nothing, and being active is better than not being active. So that's pretty much what you just said, right? To do something. And then we did have somebody who asked if everything hurts, mostly an ankle that has osteoarthritis, how do you recommend getting past the pain to stay active for hopefully a few more decades?
Yep. So as far as kind of getting past OA pain or any sort of pain going on in your body, and I'm not just saying this because I am a PT, but I would recommend that you do see a physical therapist to make sure that the activities you want to do aren't causing any more damage to your body or aren't causing problems in other areas, because it is a very personalized and tailored approach. So, there's no like one generic answer or right way to do it.
Okay, well, thank you. So I think, Janine, I think we're ready for the live Qigong sequence that you wanted to share with our audience today.
Hi, and welcome. And so my name is Janine, and I became certified in yoga first. Became certified in 2008, and then I went off on my own in 2011 freelancing. I started teaching Qigong at York Hospital at the Living Wellness Center about 6 years ago. And now that the Living Well Center is not up and running anymore, I am choosing to do my Qigong classes through Zoom. I teach yoga, I teach Qigong, and I teach meditation. And today I'll be doing Qigong. Why do people choose Qigong versus yoga? Mostly, I think that people choose Qigong because it's a standing physical exercise rather than getting down onto your knees and getting back up. People that get dizzy or vertigo tend to choose more of a standing routine rather than the up and down of yoga. So let's get started. And Qigong started in the 1600s and then began to really take force in the 1950s. Qigong works with movement and breath, and then you set your intention. And there's 4 different paths to Qigong. One of them is the medical version, the medical path. The other one is martial arts. And then there's spiritual, and then there's the study. So similar to yoga, there's 4 paths in yoga, there's 4 paths in Qigong. And we're going to be doing the health and medical version of Qigong. So I invite you to stay in your seat, or you can start to stand. One of our treats that we'll be receiving today, if you give your address, is the therapy balls. So you're going to hold the therapy balls in both of your hands, and you're going to allow your arms to drop down by your side. You're going to start to roll your shoulders and just let your shoulders relax. This helps with your posture. You want to find your sitting bones, those sit bones, and you want to be able to feel that they're equal on both sides, and let your hands drop down. And we'll take 7 long and slow breaths. Inhale, close your eyes if you're able to. And exhale. Inhale again. And exhale. And continue on your own for a few more breaths, up to 7, depending on how fast or how slow your breath is. But you want to feel as though that breath is full. You want to feel your stomach expand and contract. You want to feel your sternum slightly rise. And you want to feel your rib cage as you breathe in and breathe out. And now take your tune-up, well, you will if you receive your stress balls. Take those stress balls out to the side, and we're going to isolate our rib cage. You're going to draw that over to the side, over to the side. And as you draw it over to the side, you squeeze over to the side and squeeze. Keeping your arms parallel, keeping your arms out to a T. You inhale as you come through center, and you exhale as you reach. Just warming up our body, warming up our spine. A flexible spine creates a flexible mind. Just 2 more. Reach and reach. And now, if you don't have the stress balls with you today, you're just going to come up onto your toes and then onto your heels. But when you receive the stress ball, you're going to roll your foot back and forth. And you want to take a full breath in and a full breath out as you draw your foot forward as your inhale, draw it back as your exhale. Inhale and exhale. And then toes touch in the front, heel touches in the back. You'll feel this in your calf muscle, just warming up our legs. Not only do you feel it in your calf muscle, but you're also going to feel it in your thigh. You're also going to feel it in your core because you're holding nice and tight. And then, of course, you switch to the other foot, you roll. We have a lot of nerve endings on the bottoms of our feet too. So people that have neuropathy really enjoy this. Rolling back and forth, inhale and exhale, pull it back. Inhale forward and exhale back. And then that toe touch. Touch your toe in the front, touch your heel in the back. Touch your toe in the front and heel in the back. So just really beginning to warm your body up. Just 2 more. And then I'm going to move these to the side, and I'm going to stand my body up. I'm going to move the chair to the side so that you'll be able to see me. But if you want to keep your body square to the chair, that's great as well. We're going to be working what we call the 8 brocades of yoga, the 8 brocades of Chinese yoga, the 8 brocades of Qigong. And again, you're going to take a full breath in and out. If you need support, your hand stays on the chair. You're going to fully breathe in, and you let your arm extend out to the side. And then as you breathe out, you draw it in. So what I'm doing is I'm allowing the chi, I'm allowing my breath, I'm allowing that prana to come into my body and imagine. So what I said is Qigong is movement, breath, and intention. Movement, breath, and intention. Inhale, exhale. So I'm drawing that breath into my body. The first of the brocades is reaching your hands down towards the earth, gather, interlace your hands. As you draw your hands up, you're going to feel that moment of wanting to flip your hands over. You draw your hands down, you interlace your hands, you draw your hands up to about your chest level, flip your palms and stretch up. To support your body, you hold on to the chair and only one hand draws up at a time. So I'm drawing my hand up, I'm pressing up. If you're able to let go of the chair here and feel steady on your feet, you interlace your hands and you draw your arms up over your head. What this movement does is it brings the energy from your feet up through the top of your head. They say you don't want cold feet and you don't want a hot head. You want to have equal temperature within your body. And as you draw your arms up, you're going to slightly lean over to the side. Come back. Draw that energy up through your feet, up through the rest of your body. Lean. Draw the energy up. And now lift one foot. So you might want to hold on to the chair again, lift one foot. Draw the energy up, equal temperature. I might want to hold on to the chair and lift the other foot. Lift both if you're able to lift both. I'm coming up onto my toes and I'm lifting both heels. And again, lift and hold on if you need to hold on and slowly draw down. So 4 different movements, feet on the ground. Leaning side to side. Remember movement, breath, and intention. My intention is to have equal temperature. I'm lifting a heel. I'm lifting the other heel. And I'm lifting both. So notice that we come into balance. Inhale, draw that energy up. And let your hands float back down. The second movement is called drawing the bow. You're going to hold onto the chair. You're going to lean into one foot and you're going to draw one leg over to the other side and sink just a little bit. When you sink, you want to have a soft back, a soft belly. Your knees are slightly bent. You're going to have your hand on the chair to begin with. You're going to draw one arm out to the side. And as though you're drawing a bow, you're going to look in the direction that you're going and you're going to pull that bow. Both hands come back together and now your hands are soft as they come up and over your head. All the way around, circle them all the way around. Protect your body. Draw the bow. One arm out to the side, the other arm draws that bow, pull. Bring it back. You can sink down a little bit more. If you feel as though you can sink down a little more, hold on to the chair, sink down a little bit more. No leaning forward. You're sinking straight down. My arms come up over my head. I circle them all the way around. Qigong is about all kinds of circles. Draw your bow. Circle. You're circling the energy. You're getting strong in your legs. And you're focusing up over your head. Circle. And now pause, wiggle your feet back in, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, and let your hands come up and just draw your hands down through your center line and brush it away. Arms up over your head, down through your center line and brush it away. Arms up over your head. And now pause with your hands down at your core and let your hands come out and in. Draw your hands out and in. Out and in. Now one hand is going to come up towards the ceiling and one hand draws down towards the floor. I'm reaching for the heavens. I'm reaching for the ground. The arm that's up above, circle it around and draw it to your center again. Open and close those arms. Open and close those hands. Opposite hand draws up. Opposite hand draws down. The arm that's up above, circle it around. Open and close your hands. You're gathering. As I reach my arm up, I'm gathering. I scoop it around and I pull that energy right to my core. Open and close those arms. Reach my arm up. Now I'm gathering from the earth and I'm bringing it to my center and I'm opening and closing, opening and closing. Press, reach, circle, and bring it around. One more time, and then what we do is now we mix it up. You just draw your arm up, pass it by. So now it's more of a flowing. This is called harmonizing. It's just bringing your energy to the floor and up above. Now the next brocade, the next movement is for your backside. Lean into one leg, open up into that stance again, into your horse stance, bend your knees and bring your hands to your thighs. Pull your stomach in and get strong in your backside. Shoulders draw down. This is called wagging the tail in Qigong. So I'm going to bring my hips over to the left or to the right, and I'm going to look over my left shoulder. If you're holding on to the chair and you're looking right at the chair, you can let go, turn and let go. You can hold on to the chair on the side. You're finding as though you're working across the table. I'm looking over my shoulder. I'm strengthening my back. I'm strengthening my legs, and I'm pushing down into my feet. And I'm breathing in as I come across the table and breathing out. Inhale, exhale. Movement, breath, and intention, the intention of strengthening my back. Now I'm going to let go with my hands. So I'm going to turn to the left or to the right, and my feet move as well. I let go and I open. Notice that both of my knees are bent. My hands come back. I come across the table. And I open. My legs get strong. My arms move. You're opening up to what is. Opening up to this new way of breathing. Open. Come back to your center. Come back to that strong back. Pull your breath. Hold your breath. And then let it go. Inhale again. And then let it go. Wiggle your feet back to shoulder distance and bring your arms up over your head and clear. Inhale your arms up over your head, down through your center line and clear. One more time. Inhale up and exhale. This one's called Wise Owl. You draw your hands forward and then you draw your hands back. Draw your hands forward and draw your hands back. Now look over your shoulder. Look. Find a spot on the wall. This is the one brocade. If you like to shut your eyes during movement, this is the one movement, one brocade that you want to keep your eyes open. You want to focus. You want to find concentration. You want to breathe. You want to lean into one leg and lean into the other. A little bit of balance. You want to push those hands forward. You want to lean into your left or right leg, and you want to bring that other foot forward. If you feel as though you can lift that leg, you lift it and then press. Same thing on the other side. I lean. You hold on to the chair. If you need to hold on to the chair, you tap that foot forward or you lift. So lots of different levels, different variations to Qigong. Forward and back. And clear. Remember, clear. Arms up over your head, draw it down through your center line and brush. Clearing out what needs to be cleared out. Decluttering. One more. Lean into one leg, open up, hands come to your waist. You're going to fold yourself in half. Hold on to the chair if you tend to get dizzy when your head drops down towards the floor. Brush the back side of your leg and then draw that energy back up. Arms up over your head. Exhale your hands right back down to your waist. Fold again. Brush the back side of your legs. Draw that energy back up. Arms up over your head. Hamstrings stretch. Fold. Brush. You're working the energy down through your legs and back up. Arms up over your head. And exhale down by your side. Wiggle your feet back in. So in Qigong, you want to stay really low to the ground. That's why we wiggle our feet back in instead of picking it up and drawing it back in. Arms up again. Clear. So your chi, your energy, your prana is coming down through your body and then clear it out. One more time. Inhale up and exhale. We have 2 more moves. You draw your foot out to the side. Your hands come to your waist. Use the chair if you need to use the chair. And you're going to punch forward and then draw it back in. Punch forward and draw it back in. Punch forward, draw it back in. Punch to the side and draw it back in. Punch and in. Punch to the side and bring it back in. Sink a little bit lower if you're able to sink a little lower. Use the chair if you need to use the chair and punch. This one brocade is strong. Strong in your legs, strong in the punch, strong in your breath, and strong with your eyes. You're getting rid of what no longer serves you. This one can raise your body temperature. Some people kind of get out of breath a little bit with this punching, depends on how fast or how slow you move, how much you sink. And last punch. Draw your energy up and clear. Find your breath. Find your breath up and clear. Visualize it, movement, breath, and intention. Last move, you draw your arms up and you exhale down and you lift and lower your heels. This is called rebounding. Lift and lower your heels, move around, up over your head with your hands, down to your sides, move and wiggle. One more time, arms up over your head. Get ready. Just shaking everything off. And for your circulation, lift and lower your heels. Just let your body sink down. Use the chair if you need to use the chair. Lift up and down. Lift up and down. One more time. Inhale. And bring your hands to your stomach. Take a full breath in. And out. I invite you to close your eyes. Full breath in and out. Reach back behind you with your hand, either one, left or right, and draw that energy in. Over to the other side and draw it in. And bring your hand to your heart center. We'll balance our heart and our head. Bring your arm out, touch your forehead. Arm out, touch your forehead. Arm out, touch your heart. Arm out, touch your forehead. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and we're done. Nice job, everybody. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for leading that demonstration. We would like to remind all of our attendees today that you will be receiving the stress balls in the mail. And we also have printouts of everything that went with this demonstration today that Janine just did for us. So you'll receive that in the mail with a thank you note from York Hospital. And again, we thank you, Marissa, too. If anybody has any questions, you're welcome to ask them now. It looks like we're at 1:01, so we're 1 minute over. But if you have any questions, ask them. We'll give you a second to post them into the Q&A. Oh, let me just see. That was wonderful. Well, that was a comment, not a question, but we agree that was wonderful. So thank you so much to both presenters today. It seems like we have arrived at the close of today's presentation. We hope that you all found the information worthwhile, and please remember to send us that mailing address if you wish to receive the package from York Hospital. And also keep your eye out for an email from us. This whole thing has been videotaped and recorded, so you can access all of the information shared with you today on the York Hospital YouTube channel or on our website. If you'd like to do the activities, you can do so from the comfort of your home with your new stress balls next week. So thank you on behalf of the Center for Older Adults at York Hospital. Thank you for attending today, and enjoy the rest of this beautiful afternoon. Take care.
Thank you.